right, so this is going to be a speech on the evolution of the iPhone and how Apple modernized the technology world. So I want you guys to imagine a world without smartphones and the impact they've had on today. And you'll realize how impactful just having a smartphone in your hand is, how our lives today revolve heavily around these devices. Now, from its beginnings in 2007 to the present day, the iPhone has transformed not only the technology industry, but also our daily lives, revolutionizing the way we communicate, work, and interact with technology. So, Apple introduced the iPhone in 2007, and it was not the first smartphone, but it was the one that kind of paved the way for the modern smartphone that we have today. So Apple, when they introduced the iPhone in 2007, the original one, it wasn't initially a big success. It was very expensive for the time, and it was only you could only use it through AT&T. So that basically it shrank the market of people who would actually be able to use it. And then you add in the expensive price tag. Not many people were actually open to the change and thought it may just be a gimmick that wouldn't last. Now, a 2024 article by NBC states that Apple sold 1.4 million iPhones in 2007, with 80% of the sales coming in quarter 4. In that same year, Nokia, which was the smartphone giant at the time, the maker of the iconic Nokia 3310, they sold 7.4 million mobile phones in quarter 4 alone. So Apple was nowhere near as dominant as they are today. So how did they go from being just a small competitor in the market to now they basically own the market share? They have competitors like Samsung, but that's really their largest competitor. So the iPhone revolutionized the industry. It added internet in your pocket. You now had access to the internet just literally in your pocket. You could message people from anywhere. You could check your email. You could send emails anywhere. You were no longer had to be at a computer to send out an email or message people. Now it was kind of like combining a pager and a computer. It was now you could do things on the go with your smartphone. It had a touch screen display, which was very different from the keyboard display that was on smartphones, basically every smartphone up until then, or the flip phone or the slide phone that all had keyboard displays. And later on, in 2008, they introduced the App Store, which was huge. Now you could download applications on your phone. The original iPhone in 2007 didn't have an App Store. It only had the stock apps. So the App Store allowed you to download applications on your phone, which we now that just seems like a standard feature, but Apple actually introduced that, and that wasn't a thing before then. So we talk about iPhones revolutionizing the technology industry. Well, they actually impacted the world too. A 2017 article by Box states that gum sales have declined 15% since 2007, which was the year the iPhone came out. Now you may be wondering, well, how does that connect to the iPhone and Apple? Well, you notice that people have their heads in their smartphones now. When you're in the grocery checkout line, you're staring at your phone rather than used to just maybe stand around and look at the products that are for sale. In the checkout line, there's a bunch of gum. Well, now people don't always even look up at that. They may not even notice it. And the gum sales have declined since then, which is kind of crazy to think about, that something so small would have an impact like that. So now it's transitioned to the evolution of the iPhone, because the iPhone in 2007 is very different from the iPhones we have today, but it still draws some of these same similarities and still has the same kind of basic functions. So, let's see. So, the iPhone started out with 2G technology, which later then started into the 3G, and now we're all the way up to 5G today. So they've improved upon as the technology has become available. They've implemented that into their phones. They've had several camera improvements. Every year, I know they market the camera improvements, which they're starting to become minimal today because the smartphones are so. I mean, you basically don't even need a camera today. The camera's in your smartphone. That's how good it is. But back in the early days, a new camera update every year was significant, and it started removing the need to have a separate camera. Now you can just have your camera as a part of your smartphone. With the release of the iPhone 4S, they also introduced Siri, which Siri is used today. It's not as popular of a feature as it was when it was introduced. Today it's more of like, it's a helpful feature, but it's more looked at as more of a gimmick. But it spawned a lot of clones. Like today you see, the Amazon Alexa, the Cortana, all of those are spin-offs of the original Siri, which is the voice to text and text to speech and whatnot. And then with the release of the iPhone 6, there was larger screens, which was a big critique of the older iPhone models. Was okay, you see your competitors they're making larger smartphones. You guys are stuck in the smaller smartphones. Well, the people are now wanting bigger smartphones. They don't need something super small anymore. They want bigger so you can consume more media. So Apple introduced the new smartphone with a larger screen in 2015. So a 2023 article by CNN states that a completely redesigned device hits the shelves, thinner and sleeker with a better battery, camera, and screen. The iPhone 4 starts to resemble the phone many of us use today. So that article was looking back at the evolution of the iPhone, and specifically the iPhone 4, which is seen as one of the most remembered smartphones that Apple released, and it's known as one of the best because 2010 when that phone was released was seen as like, that's when Apple really took the shift over. That's when a lot of people started moving towards iPhone versus the other competitors in the market. So now we'll transition to how Apple continues to improve the iPhone. So we all use social media today. So they've continued to implement social media through their iPhones. They have also, a smaller thing people may not realize more is mobile banking. You know, today everybody does everything banking-wise on their phones. We don't usually get letters in the mail anymore, or very rarely do you actually have to make a stop into the bank anymore. You can do it all on your phone. So iPhone has come a long way with security and making things easier and more accessible through your phone. Now, a 2024 YouTube video by 91 Tech states that Steve Jobs did so many times, he made a product that we all subsequently absolutely needed. Smartphones are integral parts of modern society. So, the iPhone's journey from its inception to its current iteration showcases its transformative impact on technology, society, and culture. So I encourage you to reflect on your relationship with technology and consider the ways in which the iPhone has influenced your daily life. Thank you. Now I will open it up to the audience. Do any of you have any questions for me? Yes.
Do you think the iPhone didn't work as well when it came out because it was too advanced than everything else that was already out?
Good question. I'm sure there was a learning curve at first for many people. I mean, you go from using a flip or a slide phone with keys on the screen to now you're given this flat surface. You know, it's like something you would see out of a futuristic movie. So yes, I'm sure there was a learning curve, and there still is today. You see older people transitioning to use smartphones, how there's a initial learning curve. Anyone else? Questions?
I have one. You speak frequently of the revolutionizing technology and how much it's helped the world. What negative aspects of that do you see that has happened to society?
Yes, while technology has come with many benefits, it has also come with many negatives. As I was stating about the gum prices going down, people have developed an addiction to technology, and people don't want to work as hard to get the same information anymore that they used to have to get, because you could so easily check the information anywhere you want. So I think while it has its benefits, it's also, as a society, we've transitioned to less of hard working and more just sucked into screens kind of thing. We rely heavily on technology. And yes.
Do you think that the technology advancements, and especially with the iPhone, have helped people to be able to work more now remotely or work from home completely versus having to be in an office?
Yes, definitely. iPhone and technology really has advanced so much in the past 20 years that now, even with a pandemic like a few years ago, everybody just transitions. The world doesn't really necessarily stop, we just transition online because we have that technology accessible now. And iPhone's done a lot, and really the whole Apple ecosystem has allowed for things like that for us to be able just to move online rather than completely shut down. So, all right, well, thank you everybody. I hope you learned something today.